So, Garrett Thomas, fresh off your big TV appearance on Penn Teller's Fool Us.
And boy, are my arms tired.
Well, oh.
It's horrible.
Horrible, horrible. But I see that it worked out well for you, apparently.
Yeah, we did good. We did good.
I would say that you did, yeah. Well, let's start from the top, because I feel at least partially like I had something to do with the beginning of this whole story.
Yeah, they often say you have no one to blame but yourself, but I have you to blame.
You have me to blame,
yeah,
and I'll take all of the blame, yeah.
Okay.
So basically we were in this this diner, and I had a connection with somebody in New York that had a connection to the producers, and they needed talent, and I said you should do it.
Yep, and
you didn't want to
I had
do
a
it.
lot of reasons I didn't want to do it.
And you didn't want to do it.
You patiently listened to all of those and said, yeah, but you should do it.
You should do it. Yeah, we both talked to you, and you absolutely should, and I'm glad that you did. Are you glad that you did?
Yes, I mean, the learning experience of it all was just amazing. I have a whole new point of view that I took away from it. So it is not my type of venue, and it's not even how I would naturally want to present magic.
Exactly.
But it's Penn and Teller know that. You know,
Right.
This is a means to the ends of
Sure.
showcasing good magicians, and anybody who's been on the show technically has won. I mean, you must be doing something right if you're catching the eyes of the producers of Penn and Teller.
Absolutely, and that's part of why I was, or how I think I talked you into it, because the show is such a great vehicle for amazing upcoming magicians or established magicians. There's legendary magicians that have been on the show,
Yes.
And it's just a great showcase for magic and magicians in general. And even though you prefer to actually astonish somebody in person, it was just good to see you in that arena.
Yeah, you know, I've always avoided theatrical magic, but being able to put it on that stage, I really learned a lot about what it means to perform for an audience, not just an individual. And it's one of those things that should have clicked years ago.
So I talked you into doing it.
Yep.
And we had to send in an audition tape. We shot a little audition.
Yep. We shot an audition, and then we sent that in, and then
Sent that in, and relatively quickly they got back
they were
to
like,
us.
yeah, and then I
Yep.
had to send in a quick explanation video.
Okay.
Shortly after that, to let them know how it's done. You know, Penn and Teller don't see who's going to be on the show, so they don't see the audition tapes. They don't see the explanation, of course, because they have to guess.
Right.
And so it's the producers that kind of know what they're dealing with, and are kind of there trying to find the talent to go up against the brilliance of Penn and Teller.
Right.
But then there was a break, and I knew I was going to be on the show, but I had to wait, and so I went right back to work, and I'm out performing, and performed at the Magic Castle, and Penn Jillette was there.
Right.
And I'm not allowed to talk about anything. I can't even let him know.
You're going to be on the show in a week.
So I'm like calling people up, going, "What do I do?"
Okay.
Penn is here, and I said, "Should I tell him that I'm going to be on the show?" And they're, "Absolutely not. You would be disqualified."
Right.
So just pretend like nothing's going on. And so he's watching my show at the Magic Castle.
Now, did you do the trick the same?
I actually, that's a part of my show. It's a part of my show.
So he saw it before.
Yes. I was at a disadvantage because he had seen it once before,
Right.
not too long before.
Okay.
So it was like 3 weeks before I was actually scheduled to be on the show. And but luckily I have a lot of magic in my close-up gallery act. And so it was.
So he had a couple of cracks at it, actually.
In a way, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. But, he had no idea it was going to be...
It was coming, right.
And they everyone told me as long as he doesn't know, that's fine. It's okay if he knows about you. He just can't know you're going to be on the show.
Okay. So he sees you a week before you're going to be on the show. Now
Yeah.
you go back. Now you're actually in... They shoot it in Las Vegas, yeah?
Yep.
So you're in Las Vegas, and it's well. Tell me about that. Like when you get to Vegas, what happens?
Yeah, they pick you up. You go to your hotel and you kind of lay low. You don't really, I didn't want to tell all my Vegas friends that I was out there because they would immediately know. Well, the only reason he'd be out here is
now you're there and you got to shoot the show.
Yeah.
Now, are you nervous at all? You've performed magic. You perform magic a million times a day on any given day. Are you nervous having to do that?
I'm not nervous about the trick. I've always told everybody, do something you can perform in your sleep because you don't know the pressures of national television.
Right.
And I've worked on a lot of TV shows with a lot of performers, but it wasn't me in front of the camera.
Right.
And this was really one of the things that I talked myself into was that I wanted to put myself to the test to see if I could stand in front of that eye and
deliver.
Be judged, and be judged, just being on television, be recorded and judged forever, but also be judged by my peers. And, it didn't get to me until like the night before because I had talked myself into, you know what, I'm going to do something I'm comfortable with. I'm just going to have fun. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go out there. I just want to get on Teller's radar. Was not nervous at all, and I should have been. I should have let myself go through it. It's kind of like memento mori. You don't want to go through it at the end. You want to think about.
Okay.
You want to think about these things.
Into the tension.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't want to be hit with the stress of all of it at once. It was a panic attack type of feeling before I'm entering onto the stage. There's a lot of stuff that goes on, and my heart was in my throat because I realized that this is going to be locked into history.
Right.
It's going to be viewed over and over. It's going to be on reruns, and this is it. And I thank goodness I chose a trick. I've always told people that I've helped go on this show.
Right.
Many of my friends have won, and I've always said make sure it's something you could do in your sleep. And now I fully understand.
Okay, so now you are going. Let's put you on stage. You're getting ready to actually go walk out on the stage. What happens? What do you see?
So I'm ready to walk on stage. Mm-hmm. I step out there, and my brain starts playing tricks on me.
Okay.
Yep. Because everything you see is exactly the same because they don't know how they're going to edit it. Which means that when I walked out there, it looks exactly the same as every time I've seen it on television.
Okay.
So my right brain recognized this pattern and said, oh, I know, this is a TV show.
Right.
You're watching TV. Okay. And my left brain comes to my rescue going, no, this is happening.
Yeah, you got to do this.
And because of this conflict in my brain, it felt like I was hallucinating. Yeah. The colors got brighter. Eventually when Teller came up, his head just seemed to be he was just so exaggerated. He's such a professional mime and comedian that it just seemed like his expressions were flying off of his face. It was beautiful to see someone who absolutely still is in love with magic even after he's been doing it for decades. Just amazing to see him appreciate the magic.
Yeah, they both love it.
But before that, I'm experiencing this. I walk into the center of the stage, and Penn Teller stands up and says, "This MFer." And I'm like, "What did I do?" And I'm like, "Okay, what did I do?" And they edit it. I took my glasses off, and I'm like, "What happened?" And he said, "I saw you at the Magic Castle. Teller, this is the guy I was talking about with the wallet trick. Are you doing that? This guy here."
He says that when you go out?
Yes. So I haven't even started my act yet, and I'm nervous as heck. And he's yelling at me, and he's like, "You stood me up. I waited for you. I wanted to talk to you after your show." And then immediately, he's brilliant, so he figures out, "But no, you didn't stand me up. You knew you were going to be on this show, and that's why you didn't come out and talk to me. You don't hate me. This guy's good." And so what I thought was going to be a negative that he had seen it already, that he's going to have another chance at it. He had already talked about me on his podcast,
Wow.
saying wonderful things, that this was killer magic, that it was almost like real magic, and then he even said that, any trick I would have done from my show would have been a contender for Fool Us. He said that the whole show at the Magic Castle was that good, but they took that out for time and stuff like that.
Sure.
The whole experience. I mean, it's TV, so there's a lot of stuff that happens that's just behind the scenes,
Right, that you don't necessarily see. So now, after that, which had to be, I imagine that would throw at least your train of thought.
It threw
for a
me off,
second.
but it gave me a moment to breathe. I mean, if he hadn't have done that, of course, he didn't know what was going on in my head, but if he hadn't have done that, and I got a laugh, and that calmed me down.
Broke the tension a little bit. Okay,
calmed me down a little bit, and you could still hear. I mean, in my intro, for anyone who knows me, and you can hear how I'm talking now.
Mm-hmm.
If you listen to my voice, you can hear I'm just like, barely being able to speak, and panic
I
attack.
didn't take that. I thought
Really?
I thought you came off really natural.
Well, if you listen to it again, you can feel the
Okay,
you can
I'll
feel the
have
nerves.
to look out for it.
You can
But-
feel the nerves, and then I invite Teller up, and share with him the routine.
And it was great. So you're actually doing it for Teller, which is very different. Like, so you have this guy who is a magical genius.
Oh, yeah.
And you're doing it for him. He's holding.
In the end, I reminded myself, I really just wanted to do this to let Teller see it. So, a lot of people had warned me, well, if you bring one of them up, they got two different points of view now.
Okay.
Normally, they're both sitting at one spot, and you can kind of control that. So I had Teller next to me, watching me up close.
Yeah.
And he's the one that's good at detecting sleight of hand. And then we got Penn Teller sitting, 15 feet in front of me, and he's watching me head to toe, seeing where my hands are moving and everything. So together, they had a really, really optimal view over everything, so that, But again, I was just wanting to have fun, and I just, wanted, when I had shown the judges. Mike Close, who is another master magician, brilliant teacher, now a major part of the behind the scenes of this show. He's the judge basically now. And when I showed him how this was done, he said, "This is going to fool them." And I said to him, "Well, there's only a couple of ways that you can create this illusion." And he said, "Yeah, it doesn't matter. Teller's going to love this." So, and he agreed that no matter what, Teller's going to really appreciate what I'm doing. So I felt that give Teller the best seat in the house, and it was a great. It turned out so perfect.
Yeah.
Just being able to share it with him.
So when you did it, when you finished it, did you feel confident? You felt like, okay, here it is. It's in there.
When I finished the routine, I felt great because I got through all the lines, all the new adjustments they had in it. So within the rhythm of the routine, once I got into my rhythm, I was able to smile. I was able to breathe again,
relax a little bit.
And then so at the end, I was just I'm doing it. This is here. I'm standing here, and I have no idea what's going on, but this is happening.
Okay, so now it comes down to the moment.
Yeah.
And this is what they came after deliberating.
Yep. Yeah. Because see what happens at this moment. I talked with Allison for a while, and so this whole time, Penn and Teller actually, I guess the way it works now is they take their guess with the judges, and then they decide, nope, you're wrong. This is a fooler.
Oh, okay.
And so
they tell the judges what they think
They tell
it is.
the judges, and the judges tell them if it's a fooler or not.
Okay.
That's how they're now able to come up with the clever things that they say. Is they make their guess. the judges, have an arrangement where they're the only ones that know. They tell Penn Teller if it's a fooler or not, and then they turn to me and they say
what they think,
what they think the effect, how the effect was achieved.
This is Penn Jillette's actual.
Yeah, his
word. This is his quote. The only thing we can think of is that you have a ring that is.
You have a ring that is so carefully constructed to come apart in halves, either with a very strong magnet or with a shell or something like that, that an audience member or even teller on very, very, very careful examination cannot get the damn thing to come apart. Now, if you have that ring gimmicked in any way, we're not going to give it to you. If you did that in any way other than that, with what would have to be pure sleight of hand, we're not going to cheat and say, okay, it's sleight of hand, because we didn't catch you on anything. If it is anything other than a ring that comes apart, you have fooled us.
And that's the ring, right?
Yeah, and normally at the restaurants or at the clubs, if anyone goes, is that a normal ring? I'm used to just doing this and kind of like banging the ring on the table. And I didn't have the table, so I actually did like the mic drop.
Yeah, you dropped.
Was functional. It was to prove the ring was solid. Because if you can hear that sound, there's no breaks or mechanical things like that. That's something that's true.
Right.
It rings true, literally. And
when you did that, he said, "I don't believe. I don't believe that."
The wisdom of this saying.
I believe you.
It's the true heart of a skeptic. That even if he saw a ghost, he wouldn't believe in ghosts.
Right.
Like, I don't even trust my own experience. And, magicians know better. Magicians know that you can't trust your own eyes. That doesn't prove anything.
Right.
That he would rather have my word saying that this ring is true and that there is a way that this ring opens up, that the ring that Teller examined does not come apart.
Yeah.
And that was really the crux of their guess, was that this must be. They didn't think there was anything else involved. They thought that it was only the ring that comes apart. Teller, I was totally shocked that the method, the construction of the routine was such that they didn't even suspect that the whole experience was an illusion. That they were thinking about how the ring, actually went through the fingers, instead of it being that everything was actually an illusion.
Right.
And that's, the major distinction between the two is they thought it was a special ring, but in reality, I'm setting up the conditions for you to experience the ring going through by a method that is an illusion.
Right. Well, I was absolutely floored. I mean, I knew that you were going to fool them, or I had a good feeling that you would. Yeah, I had nothing but confidence in it. And then when I said that, with the ring, and I do know how you do this, and it is a work of art, absolutely, and it's for sale, right? The actual trick, you could purchase this trick.
If anyone, I really am going out of my way not talking about it because, to clear up some things, I could just teach how it's done, and there's a lot of misunderstanding, but because I've already sold it, it's no longer just mine to teach. Other people have purchased it. And, if I just told everybody how it was actually done, then I'd be actually taking value away from everyone who's already purchased it.
Of course, yeah, sure.
So I really, in my heart, I can't. If it was just a thing I did, then I like celebrating magic, as an inventor. I like celebrating the method. I like talking about, isn't it cool that we can set up this prism and make a rainbow? that to me is just as beautiful.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the magic. That the conditions can be just right to experience something that isn't even there.
Right.
Just beautiful. I've been going out of my way to avoid talking about it for the sake of all the other performers that are out there doing this.
Right.
And because it's a part of us. It's
Sure.
when we're all connected. We help each other out. Even in my routine, there were other bits that I did that were other magicians' work. We kind of share these ideas, and I'm going to talk about those magicians and give them credit for their work, which really was a nice framework for the banded routine, which is what this is based on.
Great. Well, it was an absolute pleasure and a ride watching you through this process and talking you into it, and then seeing you go through it and throwing you into the fire. But I had faith that you would do well, and here it is, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Here's the trophy. So here's the reward, and you have this amazing performance that's frozen in time forever.
Yep.
And
as soon as Vegas opens back up, I'll have the opportunity of heading back out there and spending more time with them.
Good.
And that's really the prize. You get to go back.
Great.
And,
Well,
and
you
perform
can
in the show.
You can take me with you as
There you
a
go.
reward for getting you on the show in the first place.
We'll put you in the luggage compartment.
Put me in the luggage compartment. All right.